Today, February 7th, 90 years ago, my father was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And today, our family is gathering from near and as far away as Paris and London to gather in Portland, Oregon to celebrate my dad's life and sing him a rousing rendition of Happy Birthday and, of course, help him eat cake. We will share memories and stories of his life and celebrate a life that is being well lived. He's been a great blessing to me over the years, and it will be wonderful to gather as a family to surround him with our love and gratitude for the ways in which he has touched our lives. Friends, we live in interesting times, and so it's tempting to get distracted by all of the political noise and distraction going on in our country at this time. You'll notice that we continue to pray for all elected leaders in worship and sincerely hope that some good will come out of the extraordinary, unorthodox, and some might say illegal or unconstitutional actions being taken to deconstruct and diminish the basic systems and infrastructure of government bureaucracy as we know it. In fact, we are getting exactly what the slim majority of about 1.5% of voters asked for, knowingly or unknowingly. As Paul Krugman once famously said, if you're not afraid, then you're just not paying attention. Well, our new president seems to be taking a page out of The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, the 16th century Italian philosopher and political commentator who is often quoted as saying it's better to be feared than loved. In fact, he wrote, that is Machiavelli wrote, and here comes in the question whether it is better to be loved rather than feared, or feared rather than loved. It might perhaps be answered that we should wish to be both, but since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Indeed, there will be a day of reckoning, and the proverb, you reap what you sow, keeps echoing in my mind. And I pray that we will not sow too many seeds of fear, and whatever is going on in the larger world, that we would remember the way of Jesus is the way of love and not fear. The late Baptist preacher and activist Will Campbell shared in his autobiography about a conversation he had with his friend and colleague, P.D. East. East wanted Campbell to give him a brief definition of Christianity. He told Campbell, I'm not too bright, so keep it simple. In 10 words or less, what's the Christian message? And Campbell quickly replied, we're all bastards, but God loves us anyway. To which East retorted, if you want to try again, you have 2 more words left. Well, in fact, the Apostle Paul answered the same question with a perfect 10-word answer. In Galatians 5:6, Paul writes, the only thing that counts is faith working through love. I think what he meant was that no matter what, we are called to be loving people, not just when it's convenient, but even when it's hard, when it's painful. We are called to love not just our friends, but even our enemies. Campbell and East were friends during the Civil Rights Movement in the South. They had both witnessed the dark underbelly of humanity. But Campbell had not given up hope in the power of the gospel or the relentlessness of God's grace. And even though he worked tirelessly against Jim Crow laws, segregation, he regularly talked with and ministered to members of the Ku Klux Klan. He refused to cancel anyone on account of their politics or warped prejudices. In other words, he practiced the anywayness of God's love. Like Paul, he believed love was the only thing that counted. My family weekend celebrations will bring other challenges, I'm sure. All is never quiet on the Western home front, but there will be a cessation of reading and fretting over the national news and the latest executive orders coming out of the White House, like Gaza is now a resort town, or going to be a resort, crazy stuff. But whether on the micro or macro dimensions of life, the calling is still the same. What the world needs, yea, what I need, is love. This Sunday also happens to be the Super Bowl Sunday. We raised over $1,000 in soup sales last week at Super Bowl of Caring Sunday, thanks to Lisa Flanagan and all the fine cooks who brought soup to church to sell, and some of you who bought a lot to take home. We're really generous, and we appreciate that. I didn't imagine that they'd end up playing one another in the Super Bowl, that is the Eagles and the Chiefs. I'm looking forward to seeing the big game because both of them are really my teams. I was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, so have always been a fan of the Eagles. And then in recent years, I've also been impressed with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs coach, Andy Reid. There's a kind of a father-son quality to Andy and Patrick's relationship, and I've laughed out loud at some of their TV commercials. It's so refreshing to see such stars not taking themselves so seriously. Anyway, the point is, I hold the outcome of the game rather loosely, and I will celebrate, hopefully, a game well played on whoever wins. And as Christians, I wonder if we can move from partisanship to a genuine desire for what is good, true, and beautiful to prevail, no matter who's in charge. Whenever possible, can we focus on what's right and less on who's right? I'm trying to resist the culture of outrage and channel my energies toward better listening, less blaming, more learning, and creative problem solving. Perhaps those are some of the ways to move forward being a more loving person. Well, I close with a poem by Rosemary Watola Traumer, taking off on a comment by Diana Butler Bass encouraging Christians, indeed all of us, to love relentlessly. She writes this: "Love relentlessly," she said, and I want to slip these two words into every cell in my body. Not the sound of the words, but the truth of them, the vital, essential need for them, until relentless love becomes a cytoplasmic imperative, the basic building block for every action. Because anger makes a body clench. Because fear invokes cowering, shrinking, shock. I know the impulse to run, to turn fists, to hurt back. And I know, too, the warmth of cell-deep love, how it spreads through the body like ocean wave, how it doesn't erase anger and fear, rather seeds itself somehow inside it. So even as I contract, love bids me to open wide as a leaf that unfurls in spring, until fear is not all I feel. Love relentlessly. Even saying the words aloud invites both softness and ferocity into the chest, makes the heart throb with simultaneous urgency and willingness. A radical pulsing of love, pounding love, thumping love, a rebellion of generous love, tenacious love, a love so foundational every step of what next begins and continues as an uprising, upwelling, ongoing infusion of love, tide of love, honest love. While I won't see you this Sunday in worship, you'll be treated to a sermon by the Reverend Mary Marple Thies. May we all be encouraged to celebrate love and live into the opportunities to show God's love to the people around us, especially our family and friends, but even our enemies. Over the years, love changes everything, for as the Apostle Paul teaches, the only thing that counts is faith working through love. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend.